You know that feeling, right? You're deep in the zone, working on something important, and then, bam, everything just stops. Your computer, totally frozen. It has got to be one of the most frustrating things ever. Well, today, we're going to put on our detective hats and solve a classic case of digital death.
Okay, so here's our crime scene. On one side, you've got a program that's completely given up. Heck, even the task manager itself is not responding. And on the other side, well, there it is, the infamous blue screen of death. Now, this looks like total chaos, a complete system failure. But believe it or not, this isn't random. It's actually leaving us clues.
So if you look really closely, past that sad little emoji, the computer actually gives us what you could call its dying declaration, an error code. In this case, it says unexpected underscore store exception. And just like that, we have our very first lead in this investigation.
Okay, so unexpected store exception. What on earth does that text speak actually mean? Well, it's basically the computer screaming that it had a huge problem trying to read or write data. And 9 times out of 10, that points a big flashing arrow directly at the storage system. You know, the hard drive or the SSD where all your files actually live. This is our prime suspect.
All right, so like any good detective, the first thing you do is check the usual suspects. And in the world of computer crashes, faulty RAM or computer memory is always at the top of that list. So that's where we're going to start. So we fire up this built-in tool, the Windows Memory Diagnostic. You can think of this as our interrogation of suspect number 1. It's going to go through the memory piece by piece, looking for any little error that could be causing all this chaos. It's a really standard but absolutely crucial first step. And the results are in. The memory, totally clean. No errors found. So it looks like our first suspect has a solid alibi. This means the problem is running deeper. It's more complicated than we thought. This is definitely not going to be an open and shut case. Okay, so we've hit a bit of a dead end. The next step? We decided to just watch the system while it was still running, right in those moments leading up to a crash. And that's when 2 brand new, really alarming clues popped up that completely changed the direction of this whole investigation. And boom, here's our breakthrough. Check this out. On the left, Task Manager is showing the main storage drive is just pegged at 100% activity. And this is when the computer is basically doing nothing. It's literally working itself to death. And on the right, we see the fallout from that. The CPU temperature is just skyrocketing. These two things, they're connected. Let's just focus on that temperature for a second. One of the CPU cores hit a peak of 115.5 degrees Celsius. Now, to put that into perspective for you, most processors are built to just shut themselves down around 100 degrees to keep from, melting. So this isn't just hot, this is catastrophically, dangerously hot. I mean, to put it even more simply, that's hotter than boiling water. The computer's brain was literally cooking itself. Now, this kind of heat is a massive, catastrophic symptom for sure. But the real question is, what's the underlying disease causing it? Well, all signs were now pointing to that overworked storage drive. It was time to go in deep, time to perform a full diagnostic scan, basically a digital autopsy, to find our smoking gun. So we're using this tool called Victoria, and it scans every single little part of the drive. Just look at the log down here, 25 warnings and 5 critical outright errors. And see that graph up top? That thing is supposed to be a nice, smooth line. Instead, it's all jagged and erratic. That's the visual of a drive struggling, really struggling to read data. This is undeniable proof of a huge problem. And just to be sure, here's another scan from a different tool. Now, every single one of those little squares represents a chunk of data on the drive. Green means it's healthy. Red, well, red means damaged. This drive isn't just sick, it's terminally ill. This right here is the smoking gun we were looking for. This is what a dying drive looks like. Okay, so with all of this evidence finally gathered, we can piece together the entire chain of events and deliver our final diagnosis. Case closed. So here's exactly what was happening, the whole chain of failure. It all started with that failing storage drive. The computer was desperately trying and failing over and over again to read corrupted data. This forced the processor, the CPU, into this frantic, non-stop loop, which generated an absolutely insane amount of heat. And finally, that 1-2 punch of the drive failing and the CPU cooking itself led to a total system meltdown and our blue screen of death. And you know what the craziest part is? In a perfect ending to our little detective story, it turns out the very first clue we found was the right one all along. That unexpected storage exception error, it was pointing us to the storage drive from the very beginning. We just had to follow the trail of evidence to prove it. So, the next time your computer or any of your tech starts acting up, just remember it's probably not just being random, it's trying to tell you something. It's leaving you clues. The real question is, do you know how to read them?